Hi, welcome to CrewConnect TV. We're here with Mark O'Neill from Columbia Shipmanagement. Mark,
Hello.
it's a pleasure to have you here.
Hi Lily, pleasure to be here.
So Mark, you just joined a panel on return on investment on digital technologies, and it's a huge deal really to get this right. What are your experiences with implementing technologies on ships?
Look, I think the whole debate of last year and this year on digitalisation, technology is to a certain extent a Y2K phenomenon, shall we say. Digitalisation is a means to an end, but it's not the end in itself. The end in itself is optimisation, and we, Columbia Shipmanagement, we have to take whatever steps we can to optimise for our clients, optimise ourselves so that we achieve the economies of scale, the efficacies and the efficiencies which the market requires. Now, digitalisation is part of that, but digitalisation is the interaction between three component factors: innovation, technology and processes. Everyone focuses purely on the technology side of this. Do we have the latest hardware or do we have the latest software? That's missing the point. Digitalisation is all about innovation. How do we do things better, and can technology help us do that? And once we have a process, how can we keep reviewing that process and see that we do things better and better? So digitalisation, technology, it's a means to an end, but optimization of what we do, reducing the costs, doing things better, more for less, and better is what we're about. Now, I think the importance of this conference and what we were saying on board on the panel a while ago was that digitalisation is only so good as the training one puts into the crew on board vessels and the staff ashore to actually utilise that digitalisation, that technology. So crew remain at the very heart of what we do, and digitalisation and technology will never take away that important factor. So how we train our crew, vitally important, how we train our crew on the new technologies and the new innovative processes. Part of that is, of course, which will inevitably be one of your next questions, is connectivity and the importance to the crew of connectivity, not just in the performance of their jobs, because a lot of the technologies are connectivity driven. A lot of the data transfer from the vessels to our performance optimization control room, for instance, depends on connectivity. But also the crew well-being. There's a huge need for crew to be connected with each other and with their families ashore. And against that, from our perspective, you then have the dilemma, should crew be connected 24/7, or should connectivity be limited in certain circumstances? Because if we're operating tankers, etc., we want our crew to be, during their rest periods, to rest and not to be playing on the internet or connected with family and friends on the internet all of that time. So huge issues around connectivity. It's not simply enough to say, yes, our crew should be connected 24/7. There's a lot of factors that need to be considered in that.
You mentioned that the crew is at the heart of everything that digitalization is about. So how did seafarers react to the onslaught of new digital technologies?
I think most seafarers are probably the age of my children, and therefore grew up, certainly the junior seafarers grew up in a different technological environment than, for instance, I grew up. Their adaptability and their interest in technological advance and connectivity is so much more advanced than for my generation. So anything new and exciting is received extremely positively. At Columbia Shipmanagement, we've started what we call our I Care philosophy, which focuses on adherence by our seafarers to our core values, the core values of Columbia, but also to our policies and our management system. Connectivity, technology, software, hardware is key to that too, and facilitates that. For instance, we have our crew portal, which allows seafarers to look up on their iPhones or on their tablets their next their rotation engagements, their salaries, their training status, what certification they need to maintain their status. We have an e-learning, an Adobe e-learning platform now, which is app-based, so that crew members can, during their time off, their 3 months off or whatever the period is, then instead of coming into the office, into the manning agents or our crew training centres, they can do a lot of their training from their iPhones by way of app. Very effective tool. And also our performance optimization control room allows the crew to be better managed, both in terms of training and in terms of rotation and in terms of communication on a parochial level as well. If there's something amiss or awry on shore, then we're able to much better manage that as part of our casualty response, but also incident response on board the vessel. So technology is a huge assistance, but we don't want to be get ourselves into a situation where the tail wags the dog. The dog has to wag the tail, and we have to use technology by a proper, motivated, trained, efficient crew, rather than believe that technology and connectivity, hardware, software will drive in itself optimization. It won't. It's just a tool in that toolbox.
Just to jump back to the original topic of your conversations here at CrewConnect, connectivity is regarded as maybe the first step towards the digital transformation, just to enable all these technologies. So can you tell us maybe the ROIs of connectivity in your experience?
I think it's wrong to look at the ROI, return on investment of connectivity itself. Again, that is the tail wagging the dog. Return on investment comes from a motivated, well-trained, efficient crew and optimized performance. Now, connectivity is part of that process, but as I always say to our clients, you don't need to digitalize all of your operations. You only need to digitalize those aspects of the operations that make you more attractive to your market. There is absolutely no point in having 24/7 connectivity if that doesn't A, assist the crew, or B, assist the market you are serving. Now, there is an argument for obviously 24/7 connectivity of vessels, because a lot of the data that will flow from the vessels to our technical superintendents, to our marine superintendents, to our crew superintendents will require that, to our performance optimization control room. But for crew 24/7, there is probably little need, and therefore keeping that under control and continually monitoring that is important. But connectivity, there is no return on investment for connectivity per se. It's what you do with that connectivity that is the decider on whether it's worthwhile having connectivity or to what extent you have connectivity.
Mark, thank you so much for being here with us and talking to us about this.
Thank you very much. Take care.